And then we have these other two formulas for sine and for tangent. So the sine, again, you have the formula is, notice the sine stays the same, and it's sine, cosine, cosine, sine, instead of cosine, cosine, sine, sine. So it changes that. And the tangent, really, if we wanted to, it's easy to see that the tangent is really equal to the sine over the cosine. But you can use that formula. But if you have the sine of, like if you're asked for the tangent of alpha plus beta and you already have the sine and cosine, just put them over each other because it's the same thing. All right, so now we have a little bit different problem. It says find the exact value of 19 pi over 12. And it doesn't tell us really how to do it, does it? And we don't know what 19 pi, this is without a calculator. Whenever it says exact value, they mean without a calculator. Okay? So, does anybody have any ideas? It's okay if you don't. Okay, two people writing. Find the reference angle? No. Yeah, I'm going to split 19 pi over 12 into different angles. Exactly. Exactly. So basically the best way to do this that I can figure out is just like, well, they're all going to be denominator 12, right? So I can say 19 is 1 plus 18, but I don't know pi over 12, so that's not going to help me, right? Then I can say, well, 19 equals 2 plus 17, but the 17 part isn't going to help me. How about 3 plus 16? That one might help. That'll give me 3 pi over 12 and 16 pi over 12. If I simplify this, I get pi over 4. And if I simplify this, I get 4 pi over 3. And I do know those two angles. There's other ones that will work, by the way. 4 and 15 would work as well, I believe. Yeah. Right? I could have 4 pi over 12 and 15 pi over 12. And this would give me pi over 3. And this would give me 5 pi over 4. So there's another set of numbers that would work. You see, there's not one perfect answer. Do you get what I did? Does everybody see what I just did? Okay, good. So now, once I pick one, I don't care which one you pick, I'll just pick this one because it's the first one. We can say that the sine is the sine of pi over 4 plus 4 pi over 3 is equal to the sine does not like, don't let me use my S's. Sine of pi over 4 cosine 4 pi over 3. And for sine, the sign stays the same, so it's plus cosine pi over 4 sine 4 pi over 3. Okay? Y'all with me? Okay, so now it's pretty simple. What's the sine of pi over 4? Root 2 over 2. Yep. And the cosine of 4 pi over 3, just figure out what quadrant it's in, figure out what the reference angle is, and then we'll know the answer. So what quadrant is 4 pi over 3 in? 3. Good. So if it's in quadrant 3, what's the reference angle? Pi over 3. You're right. And then what is the cosine of pi over 3? Nope. Yep. So it's minus 1/2. All right. And then we do the same thing here. We have the cosine of pi over 4. I'll just write root 2 over 2. And the sine of 4 pi over 3. Well, it's in quadrant 3. That's okay. No problem, Siobhan. We know it's negative. Reference angle pi over 3. So if the cosine is square root 1/2, the sine is root 3 over 2. So my answer here would be square root of 2 minus the square root of 2 over 4 minus square root of 6 over 4. And there you have it. That's minus above the line. Yeah. Okay? All good? Questions? Yeah, Griffin, what's up?
So, do we always use reference angles, like when we're adding these things at the end?
Say what?
I'm not really, I'm trying to think how I should phrase my question. So at the bottom of the screen where you have equal radical 2 over 2 minus 1/2 plus the rest of it, are these all reference angles, or is it just the, because
there's the values in the quadrants, but if you know what quadrant you're in and you know the reference angle, then you don't have to memorize every point around the circle. All you have to do is memorize the first quadrant, because we're referenced to the first quadrant.
Okay.
Ask me this on Monday, because you come see me all the time.
I will.
I'll go over it with you.
I will. Okay, cool.
Okay. Okay. How about this? How would I write this as a single expression in sine? Kirkland, you got this?
I mean, I could try, but...
Is this Kirkland?
Oh, I thought you said Griffin.
No, I said Kirkland. I thought it sounded like you, Griffin.
All right, good.
Okay, Smader, you want to take it? Yeah, that's true. So what's my answer? Smader, you have to finish up. So what's my answer going to be? If that's true, then what would my answer be? Yeah, I don't know why I can never hear you. I feel like your microphone's turned down too low. Can you type it? Do you know the answer, Smader, or no? Okay. Well, you were right. I mean, just use what you just did, and the answer will come right out. So Kirkland, you know the answer? Are you here, Kirkland? Kirkland? Okay. Stop being distracted during class. Put everything away that's distracting. What are you distracted by? You guys, this is why an online class is really hard. You've got to stay focused. I'm not kidding. You've got to get yourself to a library. You've got to get yourself to a room by yourself. Whatever you need to do. There's no point in this. Almost, Mater, but not quite. You have the wrong you have the right idea, the wrong function. Remember, cosine is cosine, cosine, sine, sine. No, you have the wrong function. Cosine has cosine, cosine, sine, sine. Sine has sine, cosine, cosine, sine. See the difference? So it's sine, and because it's sine, it's 2t plus t, because the sign doesn't change on the sine, it only changes on the cosine. So this is equal to the sine of 3t. Okay? Got it? Does everybody see it? All right. Very good. Very good. So we have another one here. Let me just see how many more we have for this. 1, 2, 3. Let's just do one. If you look at the formula sheet, it doesn't switch, Stacy. The sign stays the same for sine. You see that? Cosine switches. Okay, then we have tangent. So we have the tangent of 11 pi over 12, and I want to find the sum or difference. What do I do? Let me see who I'm going to annoy. I will annoy Sajida? Am I saying it right? Sajida? Probably not. Okay, good, thank you. Yes. Yes. This is the formula sheet you'll get on every test. You can use it on your quizzes too. Smader, I didn't call on you. I called on Sajida. Okay, so how do I do this? You want to give it a shot? Yeah, exactly. How do you find them? Who knows how to find? You know how to find them? Oh yeah, you have to keep the tangent. That's not changing. Tangent is tangent. But we don't know the tangent of 11 pi over 12, right? This is a non-calculator problem. Snyder, don't answer. Snyder, can you hear me? I just said don't answer. Why are you answering? I really need you to stop. Okay, so we can split that into 3 pi over 12 plus 8 pi over 12. And 3 pi over 12 is the same as pi over 4. And 8 pi over 12 is the same as 2 pi over 3, right? Okay, so now we're going to use our tangent formula, which says the tangent of pi over 4 plus 2 pi over 3 is equal to, and you put it into the tangent formula, is equal to tangent of pi over 4, and then we keep the same sign, plus the tangent of 2 pi over 3 over 1, and then notice you flip the sign, tangent pi over 4, tangent 2 pi over 3. Right? You with me, Sajida? All right. What's the tangent of pi over 4? Snyder, do not answer. I'm gonna kick you out of class if you do that one more time. Do you hear me, Snyder? Stop answering. Don't say sorry. Don't do it again. Oh, I can do that. You're right. Okay. Okay, so tangent of pi over 4 is 1. Now, what's the tangent of 2 pi over 3? That's a little harder, right? So, here, let's do it up here. So what's the sine of 2 pi over 3? Griffin, stop it. This is Sajina. She has not been able to answer one question yet. Everybody stop butting in, please. Okay, so Sajida, what quadrant is 2 pi over 3 in? Good. What's the reference angle? How do you find the reference angle? It's not 5 pi over 3, and it's not 120 degrees. Reference angles are really important. Okay, so let's look at a unit circle. If we're in quadrant 2, and this is 2 pi over 3, my reference angle is this little piece here. It would be pi minus 2 pi over 3. Remember, reference angles are always between so 5 pi over 3 is not between 0 and pi over 2. 120 degrees is not between 0 and 90. If I have to, I'll put a reference angle question on every testing quiz from now until the end of the semester. Is that what I need to do to make sure that you all get this? Because I will. I have no issue with it. Pi over 3. So what's the sine of pi over 3? Sine of pi over 3 is not 1/2. Okay, so it's the square root of 3. You guys have to really do better with this, honestly. Cosine of pi over 3 is 1/2. This is going to be equal, the pi over 3's cancel. Square root of 3. Since it's in quadrant 2, is it positive or negative? It's negative. So this becomes minus square root of 3 over over 1, and then tangent of pi over 4 we said is 1, tangent of 2 pi over 3 we said is negative, so it's going to be negative square root of 3, so it becomes plus the square root of 3. So the answer is 1 minus the square root of 3 over 1 plus the square root of 3. And you guys, let me tell you something. You are in trigonometry this semester, but next semester you'll be in calculus. When I tell you what you need to learn, I am not kidding. I am not joking with you. The failure rate for Calculus 1 is like in the 60s. So more than half of the people right now who are taking calculus fail. My job is to prepare you. If you don't do what I tell you to do, it's not just about the moment. It's about your career. Do y'all hear me? Okay. I really mean it. This is super important. When I say learn the unit circle, and I say this is how you do it, then I expect you to do it that way. I mean, you can do it any way you want. I'm giving you the easiest way out. Okay? So I'm really trying to help you here. Believe it or not, I know you think I'm being obnoxious sometimes, but I have to be. Because if I am just nice, y'all will fail everything. Okay? Like, I mean it. When I say I'm giving you this formula sheet, but you need to memorize the sum and difference identity, I didn't say memorize this entire sheet, did I? I don't think one time I said that. I said memorize the sum and difference identity. And I don't even say memorize the tangent one. Memorize the sine and cosine one. You can always get the tangent one because it's just sine over cosine. Okay? So I'm going to tell you the least amount of things to memorize. But memorize that and like learn it forever because you need that formula. There's a couple formulas here you need. That's one of them. Okay?